Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and I'm very glad that you're joining me today. This is my channel where I talk about all the houseplant things, and we are big proponents for houseplant community. With that being said, today we are going to be looking at another online plant community, which is Facebook. I have made a video about the plant community on Reddit in the past, and I definitely will be doing other social media networks, so make sure that you comment down below which one you would like to see next. In this series, I will go through different features of each app and how they will serve you best as a plant person. So I asked you guys a few weeks ago what were your favorite plant-related Facebook groups, and I got so many people responding with really awesome suggestions. So I entered a lot of them, and I have really been enjoying seeing the types of interactions that happen in each, because just like Reddit, there is a community for everybody, even within specific apps. So I asked a friend who does a lot of activity in the Facebook plant community to just sort of give me some tips, and a lot of his tips were relevant to buy-sell trade groups, so I wanted to share those with you from a guy who uses these groups all the time to buy, sell, and trade his plants and just enjoy the community, like I said. So the first thing that he says is to only agree to transactions from sellers who accept PayPal. I think that this is important just across the board with any place that you buy from. It really is the most secure payment form for the buyer and the seller, so that is always really important to note. And when you are paying them, make sure that you're paying in goods and services, not family and friends. I don't believe that you can dispute a family and friend transaction, but you can dispute a goods and services one. The next thing he says is to make sure that the plant you're buying is not a recent import. So imported plants go through a cycle, they go through a big change in their lives. They're moving from another country into your country, from the optimal environment to not the least optimal, but just not as optimal. And so those plants could oftentimes lose all of their leaves and become a stump. Their health could be questionable. All of these things, the plants are just vulnerable. So whenever a plant is imported, you want to make sure that you hold on to it for quite a while before you try to resell it, if that's something that you want to do. A lot of the time, groups will have a review system so that you can see if a buyer is reputable. And honestly, a lot of the time, groups will ask that you don't leave bad reviews for everybody to see. They usually prefer that you contact the seller and a moderator so that you can talk about it together. Not that the moderators are going to be like your transaction dispute system, but just so that they know what's going on with that seller. The next thing he says is to always give an honest review of your plant, and especially if it was a good experience, because we're buying from people where there isn't like a super regimented review system like on Etsy or something like that. So it is important that if someone does a good job, you shout them out so that other people know that they are reputable and did a good job. The next thing he said I think is extremely important, and that is never comment on the price of a plant that is being sold either in a purge or a for sale post. It is so rude and definitely just not something that you should be doing. The truth is, it's not your place, it's not my place. That's just what the price is, and if you don't like it, keep scrolling. I think that a lot of the times we might not understand how hard to find a certain plant is or what the plant has gone through. There's a lot of factors that go into the price of a plant. Additionally, it's also pretty rude to try to negotiate on a price that has been set. If the person is offering or best offer, then you can definitely negotiate, but if they're not saying OBO or best offer, or it's an auction, the price is set, and that is what you're expected to pay if you ask for the plant. In these groups, it's really easy to get carried away with the rush of trying to buy a plant as fast as possible, because with purges, usually purges sell out within seconds of the plant actually being posted, and so it's really hard to kind of consider if you really want this plant, if you really need it, if you can care for it, before you have time to write sold. So I have definitely been in a situation where I bought a plant that I didn't necessarily think through, and that plant was featured in a Plants I Regret Buying video. Usually the poster will show you what is being sold in photos or just like writing out what it is. You can have time to research those plants, and if it is a plant that you have wanted for a while, well, you probably know the care up and down because you've been researching. So definitely don't buy something that you don't know how to take care of, and don't buy things on a whim because you could regret it. And hey, I've done it and I'm sure that you will too, but just try to reduce the amount of times that you do that. Don't buy unrooted cuttings unless you are very confident about rooting them. If you have a weird feeling about the plant, that's probably your intuition speaking, and you should probably listen to it, because I think that anytime I've been a little bit like iffy about whether or not I should buy a my plant from this seller or this specific plant in general, it didn't go very well, and I wish that I had listened to that little voice in my head. With all that being said, let's look at the first group. We are going to start off with a group that I've been a member of for a couple months now, and that is the Time to Splurge and Purge BST. And there are over 10,000 members in this group, so it is huge. Let's look and see what sort of requirements there are. So posts are moderated. That is very, very common. Usually these groups will have a group of moderators who are reading through the posts or approving the posts to make sure that it is relevant. First, we're going to see what exactly this group is all about. So you're welcome to ask plant questions and leave positive buyer seller reviews, and also buy, sell, trade, and purge your plants in the US only. So that is something to be aware of. All of the groups that I'm going to be showing you today, at least for the buy, sell, trade, are US only, because I live in the United States and I'm not going to be purging plants and sending them to Canada or Mexico or Germany or whatever, because I don't have the qualifications to do that. So I'm not going to be in those groups. Okay, so the rules here, let's just like quickly run through them. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but you can post in search of posts. So that means that if I'm looking for, let's say, an Anthurium metallicum, I could post a photo of an Anthurium metallicum or just text saying ISO Anthurium metallicum. I have $50. I don't think that would be enough, but I have $50, show me what you have. And then at that point, sellers are just individuals, can comment on the post with a photo of what they have, and you can pass or take. It says here that no piggybacking unless original poster passes. So OP means original poster, which I didn't know that. So basically what that means is piggybacking is when someone comments and says, oh, I'm looking for that too. And then what can happen in that situation is a seller will comment back to that comment, and then the person who didn't even post the question is now buying something before the original poster, if that makes sense. So it's just etiquette to make sure that the OP passes on a plant before you take it. So in this specific group, the price has to be set. You cannot do OBO or make an offer, auctions, or anything like that. And then also no ghosting after commenting. This is something that you're going to see across all buy, sell, trade groups. If you comment sold, you need to claim that plant even if you didn't really want it. So definitely don't get too happy with the sold typing, okay? So make sure that it really is a plant that you want. Negative reviews will require approval, so no negative reviews without first contacting a mod or an admin, which is kind of what we were talking about earlier. Pay with PayPal, goods and services. So yeah, that's basically what we've got going on here. I'm gonna go through and just show some examples of things that people are posting. I'm not going to just scroll through because I wanna make sure that people's identities remain private, because I think that with the group being a private group, I want to keep the privacy, but I will show you kind of the type of things that people are posting. Okay, so here we have, that is such a beautiful plant. This is an Anthurium dorayaki. Okay, this is an ISO post. Sorry, I need to read the post before I start talking. We are in search of Anthurium dorayaki and other unique Anthurium. Pick for attention, not my photo. So this is where the community aspect of a group like this would come in. This is a post from someone who's just offering tips, and this is from someone who offers tips like all the time and just like gets the party started, gets conversations started, and that is so much fun. I love, this person is actually someone I know, so hey dude, if you're seeing this. But anyway, so they're talking about a product that they use, one that they really enjoy. So here's an example of a plant that was being sold. So this is a massive billy tie with 24-inch leaves. Oh my gosh, that is ridiculously beautiful. It was $350 plus shipping. I can't even imagine how much shipping would have been for that. 7-gallon pot, so shipping bare root. Okay, so that's a lot of information to offer, and I think that's really great. So if you are going to post a photo of something that you want to sell, make sure that you include as many details as possible so that the question section can be minimal, so that it's just people saying sold, next, whatever it may be. Okay, so I found a purge. So usually when someone purges their plants, this just means that they're getting rid of a lot of plants at once. So usually if it's like 1 or 2 plants, it wouldn't be a purge, you would just make one post. But with purges, basically what you do is you can show like examples of things that you are going to be selling just to get people's attention. And this person is saying, this Friday, May 1st, 2020, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this is where they're going to be actually selling the plants, and that will take place in the comments. And you can see that this one has 74 comments, so this has already passed. Yeah, this has already passed. So if you do come across a purge post that has not happened yet, you can save that post on Facebook. You will click the 3 dots up in the corner, and then you click save post, and you can save it to a certain folder where you can come back and find it, because there are a lot of posts that are going on in these groups every single day, every single minute, especially when there's a lot of members. So that's a really easy way to come back to a post. Let's move on to another group. There were a lot of people who recommended Planet Philodendron, Planet Anthurium, Planet Peperomia, Planet genus, whatever the genus may be, and I thought that was so cool. I had never heard of these groups before, and I think that that's a really great way to get very specific information about certain plants and just learn more about each genus and see like what's going on there. And it's just a great place to like show off your plants that you're proud of, so I love that. So we're gonna look at Planet Philodendron Monstera. Okay, so this is a place where people who grow, collect, and appreciate philodendron and monstera plants. Refer to the FAQ post under announcements. A lot of the questions that are asked have been discussed at length already. Please refer to before posting. Okay, this is something that's very important because there is a search feature in Facebook groups. This is just to avoid having 4 people in the same day ask why their monstera isn't rooting or what a yellow leaf means. I mean, these are very common things that get brought up all the time. Okay, so I clicked on the announcements section, and this is where I found this page right here, which is the FAQ section. So we have a question about sticky sap on new growth. Is this something to be concerned about? Thanks in advance. It's not something to be concerned about if you're wondering. Sometimes it can be an indication of a pest, but usually this is just something that these types of plants secrete. Monstera family, I need your help. I've been rooting this cutting for about 6 weeks now. Top roots rooted in spag and bottom roots in water. My question is, are they ready to be transferred into a chunky mix? Can I cut it? And if blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's a great example of a question that you will see in here. Just lots of specific genus questions. So I think that I can move on from that. If you are interested in monsteras and philodendrons, this is a really great place to go. Let's look at something kind of fun. It is MFM Planterinos, which is so amazing. My Favorite Murder is a podcast about true crime and murder, and the hosts Karen and Georgia are very, very funny. Let's see more about this. This group has 1,300 members, so it is the smallest group that we've seen. It is very niched down, like even more niched than houseplants, so I mean that probably explains that. Okay, so this group is for murderinos obsessed with plants. Oh, stay sexy and don't murder your plants. Discussion of plants and true crime are welcome. Okay, so let's see if there's anything out of the ordinary. Rule number 3, no wandering plant. So out of respect for other members who felt uncomfortable by this plant's common name, please call it Transcantia, wandering dude, spiderwort, inch plant, whatever. In order to help answer questions, we allow pictures of bugs and pests, and we do not require a CWTW. What is that? All removals are final, so if you do something wrong, you're out forever. And then the last rule that I'm seeing here is what's shared in the group stays in the group, and if you share a screenshot without permission, this will result in the automatic removal from the group. So with that being said, I'm not going to show you specifics of what people are posting, but I will tell you the general vibe. Basically, it's just people posting photos of their plants with questions or just to show off. If you are interested in connecting with more people who have that similar of an interest with you, this is a fun group. I actually really have enjoyed it, so definitely check this one out. Let's look at plant shame. Shame plants, not people. No advice unless people ask. I need to get that like tattooed on my face. No advice unless I ask. This group has 18,000 people. This group kind of gives me a similar vibe to the plant shame group on Reddit, which was so funny. I still need to make a reaction video to that group because it was so awesome. So let's see what this one's all about. I know we all like pretty plants, and many of us post pictures of them. Well, this is the place to post a picture of your failures, your dead and dying plants. Since people post plant pics just because they're funny, you may not want to offer advice unless people ask for it. So that is like the main theme of this group, is don't offer advice unless people ask. And I'm assuming that a lot of people don't ask. A rule that I see here that I don't see in other places is no complaining about other plant groups here, which is nice, you know, they just don't want to hear about the drama. I am definitely in that camp. There are Facebook groups that are dedicated to plant tea, and I purposely am not going to talk about them. I didn't even really want to mention them right now, but point is they exist and I don't want to be a part of them because I don't see the point, and just leave that out. just don't even bother. All right, so I think that's going to be all that I'm going to talk about today. Since Facebook groups are a little bit more private and locked down, it was a bit harder to show you exactly what it's like on the inside. But the good news is it's super, super easy to join Facebook groups. All you need to do is read the rules, answer the questions, and you're in, and that's all. So as long as you follow the rules for each specific group, you should be fine and have a wonderful experience. I hope that during this time of isolation and just craziness, you have found solace in your plants and the plant community. The plant community does not only exist in person at nurseries and events and all these things, but it also exists online. So if you do find yourself in situations where it's more difficult to find plants in person, no, we don't have that problem. If you do find yourself in a situation where it's harder to find people in person who like plants, definitely turn to the online plant community, and I would love to hear your guys' feedback and thoughts on Facebook plant community, and maybe if you guys have any groups that I didn't talk about, that would be really awesome if you told us about it in the comments down below. Also, let me know which social network you want me to talk about next. I really appreciate you guys watching this video with me, and I hope it was helpful. I will talk to you in the next one. Bye!